Hey everyone, Techni here with a review of the Yunzii SK64. So as far as in your box, first off, you're gonna get the keyboard. By the way, it also comes in a black variant as well. Then you get your USB-C to A braided heavy-duty cable, also gold-plated. You get 3 extra keycaps. This is for if you wanna swap it over to a Mac. You get your options, command and control. Really cool to have that there. You get a switch puller. Yes, it's hot swappable. Then you get a keycap puller, a little manual here, and I highly recommend you hold onto this one because, again, kind of comparing it to the SK1, you do not have the shortcuts on this board here, which I'll show you later. And then actually the crazy thing that you got in here is some face masks. You get 2-pack here. What a crazy time we're in right now, huh? So before we get into the build, the features and functions and design of the board and all that, I want to talk about the layout because this is probably the #1 shining point of this board for me at least, and it's absolutely fantastic. And that goes as far as the name right here, the SK64. It has 64 keys. As you see right down here on the bottom right side, you have your arrow keys. Yeah, you kind of pinch that shift key right down real small, little delete key, and again, it just reduces the keys on the bottom right there, kind of smashes it in. Now when we put it side by side to a standard 60% keyboard, you can see the difference clearly again on the bottom right. That's really the only difference. Standard, you have your 4 keys on the bottom and then your bigger shift. On the SK64 here, you have 5 keys on the bottom, and then with that big shift, they swap it over to these 3 keys. Again, really the biggest thing is they're giving you access to your arrow keys right there, which to me is honestly huge, and I love how they implement that in right there. I don't really use that right shift much. I do sometimes, and yes, it does throw me off right here. Took me quite a few days to actually get used to it instead of mispressing and whatnot, but I really love having the function of those arrow keys right there. It makes it 60% able to be used as an everyday keyboard instead of having to function through all these different layers and everything. Absolutely awesome. All right, so now let's jump right into the build right here, and let me tell you what, this guy is incredibly solid. Yes, the majority of it is plastic right here, but let me tell you what, this frame or this case right here is so solid. Very thick plastic coming around it right here. You can't flex this thing one bit. That's when you're pressing down on your keys or even pinching on the sides. Incredibly solid. Now underneath it, there are no pop-out feet. You do have 4 rubber feet on the top and the bottom right there, but again, as far as ergonomic incline, you're pretty much stuck at stock right here, which is pretty nice. It climbs up fairly decent, but again, that's kind of what you're stuck at. And again, it does connect by USB-C right on the back left-hand side right here, and it doesn't go in or anything, so you're gonna be able to fit any cable on this guy. Now, flipping the keyboard over and looking at our keycaps right here, we are using very thick PBT keycaps. I mean, these things are incredibly solid. You can't flex them at all. Now, talking about the keycaps not being shine through right here, this board does still have RGB with plenty of effects that you can control right on the board, but get the full benefit out of it. Yes, you do have to dive into the software. Let me tell you what, the software stinks. I do not like it personally. I've used it on multiple boards, and this board, I got the hang of it, and that's what it takes. It takes a good sitting down to get used to it. But again, you can get in there and dabble with everything, but it's pretty confusing. But the RGB, still with this board not shining through the keycaps, the RGB looks so stinking good. This has been like my favorite RGB setup right here. Again, just solid PBT keycaps, and then the RGB kind of radiating out through the board. That's what I've really been liking lately. I just love the look of it. You get the RGB, but you still get that really crisp look of the keyboard. Now, the SK64 uses Gateron optical switches. We have the Gateron browns here, and as you can see, it is hot swappable, only with other optical switches. Now, one of the other biggest differences of the SK64 compared to, again, to the SK61 is the Bluetooth 5.1 on this guy here. And you can actually sync it up to 3 different devices, whether that be Mac products, Windows, or Android. And it syncs up incredibly easy. And again, you can sync it up to 3 different devices. All right, so let's go and talk about my takeaway of the SK64 right here. There's a lot that I like, a whole lot I like. #1 is the layout. And I wish every single 60% keyboard used this layout, in my personal opinion. Again, I think think those arrow keys right there are so beneficial, again, for daily use as well as gaming. When going to a regular keyboard, again, you lose, or a regular 60% keyboard, you lose your arrow keys. You got to go into that function or tap function and then use your arrows. The other thing, as you see, I just pulled out the SK61 right here. Comparing it to the 64, one thing I really like about the 61 is all your shortcuts and your function layers are printed right on the keycaps. I know a lot of people don't like that. They like it just being basic, smooth like this, which, yeah, it looks awesome. It looks really good like this. And when you kind of come over to the SK61, kind of looks a little bit cluttered, you know what I mean? But me personally, I don't really memorize the shortcuts on my keyboards, right? So I kind of like them being right there, so I know how to adjust my brightness or cycle my effect or something like that. I really like having my stuff printed on the board. So that's, again, kind of a stinker to me, at least. And the other thing I would say is a downfall, and this may just be a little bit of personal preference right here, but optical switches are not my favorite on any of them. Even the higher end boards, I just don't like optical switches. I don't want to say a little bit too soft. It's the combination of the plasticky and then the softness that I just don't like that combination right there. And that's where I think this board could have really shined. Again, coming in at 89 bucks, I mean 90 bucks right there, that's a pretty penny, you know what I mean? So if this board had, say, regular Gateron, cherries, or kale switches or something like that, wow, 90 bucks, this would be the steal of a lifetime right here. This would knock the And Pro 2 out of the water. This would be the keyboard to get. Again, if it was using basic mechanical switches right there, I think that would have really completed it. And at 90 bucks, yes, I would be recommended all day long at that price point. At 90 bucks with the combo right here, those optical switches are a little bit of a turnoff for me, and I don't know if I'd say it's worth 90 bucks. I'd kind of rather see it at 70 bucks with the optical switches. But hey, I'm really curious to hear what you guys think about it as well. Let me know what you think. Is it worth the price with all the features that's packed into it? What do you think? Please let me know down in the comments. But hey, thank you so much for stopping by and watching my review on the Yunzii SK64 right here. I hope I was able to help you out if you were looking into this board, and I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, hit that thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe for some future tech videos. Hey, I hope I catch you in the next one. Bye now.